Hey guys, it's Danny. I'm back from vacation. You guys didn't know I took a vacation. I didn't know either. Well, we didn't go anywhere yet again, but I decided to spend some time with my fiance since he had some days off, so that's why I didn't post much last week, or rather at all. But now we're back. Time to get back to work and make some new orchid videos, and we're gonna kick off the season with some orchid updates. There are some orchids that I really want to show you guys. Some of them are in bloom, some of them, I don't know, I just want to show you for different reasons. So I hope you'll enjoy hanging out with me today and maybe learning about some new orchids that you might want to grow in your collection. So before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it and you missed me. And why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week when I'm not on vacation, and it's absolutely free. But if you're feeling extra about it, consider further supporting the channel by either becoming a member or using the affiliate links down below in the description, or checking out the merch, or using the super thanks option down below my videos. Right, let's start with this little beauty that I have here. I already posted a photo with this one, and I got a lot of comments, especially on Instagram. This is one of those orchids in my collection that always gathers attention and comments and likes because it is so flashy, isn't it? This is the Epicatanthe Hsiang Gold Coast Fireworks. I'm pretty sure I butchered at least part of that name. Excuse me and let me know in the comments how should I have read that. It is a Cattleya type orchid. As you might guess, it is a complex hybrid, of course, but it's one of those that stays tiny, so it's so versatile. You can keep it on your windowsill or on a shelf or on a desk. If you have enough light for it, you can keep it anywhere because it's really tiny. And did I mention I love tiny Cattleyas? I still remember one of you guys asked me to make a video about the tiny Cattleyas. I want to have more of them in bloom to have some nice visuals to show you. But don't worry, I will try to make a small Cattleya video one day. This is one of them. I fully recommend this plant. The downside is it does not bloom very often. For me, it blooms once a year or so. I will see, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I set it back a little bit. Who knows? I'm willing to take some blame here. We're gonna see next year, but I have a funny feeling it's only going to bloom once a year. It is a complex hybrid, so it can be slightly unpredictable, but it's just beautiful, isn't it? It does not have a fragrance though, but honestly, it has many other good sides. I don't think you're gonna purchase this for the fragrance. Probably everybody will purchase it for the blooms. If you like how it looks like, go for it. It is quite easy and undemanding. It just doesn't bloom very often in my experience. And as you can see, I don't have it in a in a decorative pot. Let me show you how I'm keeping some of my Cattleyas, and I'm thinking to extend this a little bit further as well. Hold on. So I actually showed you this in a previous video. It was a video in which I showed you how fast I can water orchids if I really wanted to. And guess what? With some of them, I kind of really want to. It saves up a lot of time. So what I did here was get some trays. These are from IKEA. It's the tray that I use when I repot my orchids on video as well. It's one of the most popular trays from IKEA. You will not miss it if you go to IKEA. So I put all of these Cattleyas in this tray, no decorative pot, and when I water, I just fill the tray with water up to this level and then let the pots soak. Now I can do that because the pots only have sphagnum moss. Yes, you can see bark on the top. That's just a top layer that I use to prevent algae deposits. Other than that, we only have moss in the pot. It is very airy and very loose, and I'll link you to a video in which I repot such an orchid into moss so you see how it is. It's not compacted moss. And this allows me to put water underneath and let them just soak the water. Now, yes, I talked about this in that video as well. There are risks, but these are quite older orchids in my collection or new orchids that I think are totally safe. Anyway, as I was saying, always a risk. I'm willing to take that risk because I don't really have time, or I didn't have time these days, these weeks actually. And yeah, at least until Christmas or something, I'm gonna be a little tight on time, and I have other stuff and other goals that I want to achieve as well. So if I can shorten my watering time, I'm gonna do it. And this is how I decided to go about it for now, at least. I might end up again putting them in decorative pots. That's absolutely fine. I like the look a lot, like this. it's okay. But for now, this is how I keep them, and this is how I water them very, very fast. So I'll link it down below to the videos that I mentioned. And yeah, I only have this shelf right now, but I can always go to IKEA. I was thinking to maybe do this shelf in the same manner as well, because again, here I have Cattleyas that are quite old in my collection, and I trust them. Might be the one below as well. We'll see about it. Not all of my orchids will be in this setup, but yeah, it's just making life a lot easier to have them in trays. So yeah, this is how I grow them, these guys at least, at the moment. On the same shelf, you might have noticed this one. This is another Cattleya type. It is very fragrant right now because it's super early morning when I'm filming. I already did a video on this one. This is the Brassocatanthe Jairak Finch. I'll link you to that video down below. And in case you already watched that video, I think it changed color even more. I think it became absolutely yellow, no more hint of purple. This is a type of orchid that changes color as it ages, as the flower ages. But this one is very dramatic. It's, I believe, the most dramatic or noticeable change in my collection. We started off with purple flowers and we ended up with yellow. And it's not a faded yellow, it is quite a vivid yellow, I would say. Very similar to the yellow bird, if some of you have the yellow bird. It looks very similar to that. It's striking, so it's not losing color and becomes this washed off pale pink or something. No, it's quite bright. And it doesn't show signs of withering off. I hope it's gonna stay like this for at least another week or two. It's very fragrant still during nighttime, smells like Brassavolas. And I can just imagine, there is actually a picture on the internet if you Google it, with a plant that has multiple flower spikes with flowers that opened at different times. So some flowers are more purple than others are super yellow. It is just such a beautiful show. It's like having an orchid with multiple type of flowers. I just wanted to show you this one again in case you missed that video, because I really enjoy it. And if you see it for sale, I think you're gonna have a blast watching those flowers change color. I don't suspect it's hard to grow. Again, Cattleya, Brassavola type of care. I love the smell. I got it, guys. I think Brassavolas smell like sunscreen, which I don't mind. I think they smell beautiful. Alrighty, next up, here we have not a Phalaenopsis, although I think it has been reclassified. This is a former Doritis, current Phalaenopsis pulcherrima Marmorata 4N. It is the type that has beautiful mottled leaves and looks a little bit like a Paphiopedilum. I received this one recently from a lovely viewer, and I wanted to show it off because it has bloomed. I didn't know this is actually the season of Doritis, and I'm saying that it might be their season because I have another one with a flower spike, one of mine. I'm gonna show it to you, but it is blooming and it's absolutely beautiful. Very tiny, beautiful flowers. It only opened one flower, but I think you can tell the flower spike is not really a typical Phalaenopsis spike. If you know Phalaenopsis, they tend to make that arch, and if you train them well, you can get a beautiful cascade of flowers. Well, Doritis are not quite like that. They actually produce their flower spikes upright, and this is because they don't actually grow on trees naturally. They grow in a sort of combination of stones and dirt and mosses and vegetation. They don't grow in the exact same way as Phalaenopsis, hence because they actually grow on the soil, not in the ground, but on the soil level, they have upright flower spikes. Flower spikes need to stand up, be visible for the pollinators, and the only way to do that is by growing upright. So that's why sometimes hybrids with former Doritis tend to have more upright flower spikes, while other stuff that are pure Phalaenopsis tend to have flower spikes that either grow horizontally or awkwardly to a side. They don't have that beautiful upright and then a little curved shape. The pulcherrima can actually vary a little bit. There are some that are peloric, there are some that are purple like this one, some that are white even, and then that beautiful white and yellow variation. There are quite a few varieties, not to mention the leaves. You can have green leaves or mottled leaves like this one. So it is a fun one to play around with, being that I had a few issues with my former Doritis. I'm not sure if I should tell you it's easy to grow or not. Probably more people in the comments can. I decided to go all in and I purchased myself a whole lot of them. I'm gonna show you a whole lot of them, different varieties or even hybrids, to see how I do with them. So far so good. Look at this one, it managed to bloom. That's a good sign. But I already received this one with a tiny flower spike. Let me show you one that I bloomed all by I spiked all by myself. Ta-da! Do you guys remember this? I made a video about this IKEA greenhouse situation. I'll link it to it down below. Here I have all my Doritis and one primary hybrid. Oh, I'm noticing another flower spike. Definitely it is their season, like no doubt about it. Do I only have 2 of them spiking? Maybe more? No, I think it's just 2. Let's just get them out. Yes, I'm using this to protect them against pests, and it's working out. It's not a full protection. Yes, you can see the seams are not sealed or anything, but it does offer quite a bit of protection. And I don't really have pests on these guys yet. Hope I didn't jinx it. All right, so there are 2 here that have flower spikes. Which one are you? Look at this one. The spike is quite big. Oh, I have 2 spikes. I have another spike here. So this one has 2 spikes. I'm so excited. Oh, okay. This is Phalaenopsis pulcherrima champorensis. Let's just Google that really fast because I have no idea what I'm showing you. It's the one with white and yellow, and it's supposed to be the pyloric one. If you Google the name that I just showed you on the screen right now, you'll see what I mean. So excited about this one. This was the one that I lost. I purchased it from a seller, had an issue with the crown, decided to purchase it from a different seller. This one is coming from Schwerter actually, and this one seems to be okay. It is potted in the same sphagnum moss situation with bark on top, and it's doing very, very well. We have roots growing from the bottom, inevitable. We don't have ventilation in these pots, but that's just because I live in such a warm climate. I can pull this off. And this one is my Marmorata. Yeah, this is my, okay, it's not a 4N, so maybe it's a little different than this one, but you can see how tiny mine is. It's quite a baby. This one has only 1 flower spike. You can see it right here. Typically the flower spike appears from way below, but I do believe this one had a flower spike just growing up the stem for whatever reason. Well, since I told you these flower spikes tend to grow up rather than to the side, sometimes it happens that the spikes just emerge from close to the crown. Thank goodness it's not a terminal spike. Yay. But yeah, this one theoretically should look like this one, although whenever you see 4N, I'm not gonna go into the genetics, just expect a bigger form, maybe a better form for the flowers, and maybe not only. So maybe that's why this one is bigger. Not entirely sure. You can research it yourself, but typically 4N means you have a better individual with better traits. So it will be fun to see the differences in flowering. There's no fragrance, by the way, but I do really like them, and I'm pretty sure this is the pulcherrima season. I mean, coincidence is quite big, and I have these guys for a while. I repotted them in May, so I did purchase them in the spring, probably in April, and they certainly did not have flower spikes then, so yay for pulcherrima season. Now, currently the pulcherrima resides in my D12 shelf, and if you remember on the D12, I have these lights which, you know, are not that great. They're not as good as the Barrinas. I can clearly see that, but the D12 has this weird size to it that it's very, very hard for me to find grow lights or adequate plant lights for it, until recently, that is. Because good news, you guys, Barrinas came up with tiny LED tubes. Look at these. These are 30 centimeters? 1 foot. What is that in centimeters? Oh, the lights are coming on in the grow room. 1 foot equals 30.48 centimeters. Okay, so it's 30 centimeters. So I purchased myself both the pink and yellow versions to do exactly what I did in these shelves, and these fit perfectly in the D12. There have been a few comments a few months ago telling me that Barrinas came up with the 1 foot version, but I could not find it on Amazon anywhere. So I don't know, maybe they had it on a different store. To me, it didn't appear in my searches, but recently Amazon just recommended them, and I went ahead and purchased them. Well, when I say recently, I mean a couple of months ago. I didn't have time to install them yet. I will, and I will film it, but I'm super happy because this gives me even more versatility with my grow spaces. Now, Barrinas, if you don't know, are the lights that I use in my Visto shelves with all of my orchids. As I keep telling you guys, I'm not entirely sure if they are full spectrum, whatever. And if the spectrum is what Barrinas says it is, I do not know. What I know is that they grow plants beautifully for me, and there is indeed a difference between normal kitchen lights and these guys. I like to combine the spectrums with the pink version and the yellow version. It's something that I used to do 20 years ago with my fish tanks. I wanted a particular plant spectrum, and back then we didn't have LED lamps. So we had to do with those fluorescent tubes. And I always combined the redder, pinky red tubes with the more yellow tubes. And in this way, I had more of that red and blue spectrum, but I also had a nice spectrum for our eyes, which is more on the yellow wavelengths. So that's exactly what I do with the Barrinas as well, and it works out great for me. I feel like I am giving the plants the spectrum they need. And currently I don't have alternatives to Barrinas on the market. I purchased them from Amazon.com. Yes, I import them and I pay import tax. They're not expensive for what they are, in my opinion, for how expensive other grow lights are that really are unnecessarily strong. So I pay double for them, but I think it's worth it. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I just think it's worth it, and they come with a lot of accessories, like all sorts of daisy chain cables or sorts of other types of cables, so they really are a good package for me, and I'm happy to have the 1 foot version. So I thought I should let you know. If you already have normal Barrinas, well, now you can have tiny ones for the tiny shelves. And yeah, we'll see about that video with the details at some point. Alrighty, and before we end the video, there's one more orchid that I wanted to show you. Let me arrange my table here. It's this one. Ta-da! What is this? You don't even see it. Hold on. Alrighty, better. So this is a wonderful Vanda orchid that is finally in bloom. This is the Mimi Palmer crossed with tessellata. If you look at pictures on the internet, you will find a lot of variety for this hybrid. I don't know, but yes, it does smell very sweet and chocolatey. Now, my history with the Mimi Palmer, it's not that great. I had 2, I lost both of them to I don't know, various reasons, and I decided, well, I'm gonna give it another go, and I didn't find a proper Mimi Palmer. I found the hybrid with the tessellata, which, you know, I'm kind of doubting. I don't know what to tell you. The flowers are indeed very tiny, so it's not a pure Mimi Palmer. Maybe it is what it says it is, but the coloration, you can see it's not very tessellated, if you will. It's more of a solid color, but the fragrance, oh, the fragrance is the same as the Mimi Palmer. It's sickeningly sweet, but it's nice. It smells a little like milk chocolate, in my opinion. Has a creamy texture to it, and I'm very surprised that it bloomed. I did not even have time to pot this orchid and transition it to a potted situation like the rest of my Vandas. And I kind of hassled with watering it as it is, and I didn't necessarily do a proper job, since you can see on the leaves, it's a little bit on the dehydrated side, which is okay. Vandas are very tolerant of drought, but still, it's not proper. It's not the best that it can be. So at some point when the flowers are over, I will go ahead and pot it and transition it to a potted situation. But I'm really happy that it bloomed, and I got to smell that beautiful fragrance that I really love from the Vanda Mimi Palmer, which actually is a tessellata hybrid as well. So I think the fragrance comes from the tessellata. I don't think it's a combination of fragrances that just happens to feel chocolatey. I think it's the tessellata. I think that's how it smells. Anyway, tiny flowers, but the color is unique. It's a sort of purpley brown with quite a purple lip. So it is really interesting. Mine can do a little bit better hydration wise. I'm actually going to soak it right now since we're here. And yeah, soon enough it shall be potted. But until then, I will enjoy the flowers because I think they are unique. And that is about it for today's update. I'm excited to be making videos again. You really sometimes need a break from something to realize that you do enjoy it and to clear your mind a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to film some more videos. I'm excited for the autumn. It's really hot here, so Cannot wait for lower temperatures. Let me know how you guys are doing. Did you go on vacation? Did you have a little bit of off time, well-deserved break from everything? Let me know in the comments how you are, because I missed this. Alrighty guys, so with that said, thank you for watching. If you feel like you want to watch some other types of plants, including aquarium plants, check out my second channel. I try to post as regularly as possible there as well. But most importantly, if you are in this for the orchid content, subscribe to this channel because this is where I post the good stuff. So with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye!